what is the static testing and what is the dynamic testing. I am telling, I tell you that when the coding is performed in the SDLC lifecycle, when the coding is performed and we are like testers are writing the test cases and test scenario for that. So static testing in simple, we are testing the applications. That's one of the phase to find out the defects also, and then we are testing the application. Without executing the applications, we are finding the bugs. We can see how without testing we can find out the bugs. Simple answer is that definitely in the static we are writing the test scenarios, writing the test cases, we are doing the analysis of that. This we are doing the peer review, technical review, this all the thing, because we can understand in that something features should not be possible. The client will only want what they have expected. They not something more less, and they don't want something more. Definitely they are not paying for something more. Definitely any industry they will give the same thing. So under the static testing also we can able to find out some type of defect, because we can understand something cannot be developed, something like this requirement is missing in the sense. For example, we have to perform these steps, but before that we have to perform some action that is not there. So that kind of missing the requirement. If this kind of defect, if we come at the time of execution, we have lost our most of the time. So that's why we are performing the static testing. So whenever the coding happened, the tester have to perform the writing the test case analysis. This all the things come under the static testing. Means we are not executing the test, but we are covering the all around solution to find out the defect, what we have in the requirement, what we have in the functional requirement, this all the thing. So once like static testing, we can simple exam called as a walkthrough and inspection. So we can do the static testing through the walkthrough and inspection. Walkthrough is not a formal way, informal way, like we have sit together for the 5 people in the meetings and we are just discussing about this of the things. But after discussing in a more detail, we get to know these things is missing. That will come in the walkthrough. That's called a walkthrough. Inspection is like a formal document, formal process. We have to write each and everything documented, and then based upon that we have to things. So that about the inspection. Definitely I heard about in the places in organizations the inspection team is coming, means they have all the formality to do the inspection. But in the walkthrough, there is no formality, there is no rules, there is no regulations. We have only sit all the together and we have discussed about that. Definitely is the most favorable way to find the defects in the application. So that about the static. Dynamic testing we can perform in the sense we can understand about our build is ready. Build in the sense what are the code they have developed by the developers. They can bundle the code and bundle the code and they'll make the executable file. That executable file we are calling as a build. We know about the software, means they have in the build there set of programs, set of instructions are there that we have to perform, that converted into the bundle. Like if you think about the Java files are there, all Java files we can collect together and we can run and we can make a build. That is the build are giving to the testers, those who can perform the testing on it. So that dynamic in the sense we are testing the applications by executing our test case what we have finalized after the static test. So that is a part of dynamic we are doing. So under the dynamic also we have to think about the black box and white box. So by the terms we can understand the black box is there, like the kind of box is totally a black. In the sense we can understand the box in the sense we can understand is a software, and why you can take in the name as a black in the sense we are not visible to the internal structure of the code. Means the person who doing the testing, he totally unaware about the internal structure, internal program logic, this all the thing. So best means on the UI or what are things we are performing the testing, that called a black box tester. And white box in the sense we can also tell the white box in the name of glass box. White box is totally white, like where the testers have to access to the internal structure, internal code of access he have, and they can do the testing on the internal code. We can make sure that the testing will happens on the code also, testing will happens on the UI also. Testing happening on the UI testers to make sure key, because the softwares and the applications those who used by the customers, he don't have a knowledge about the code. He can think about the UI, how the UI, they give the instruction, they are working on it. So definitely the UI tester is more important, again I am telling, because UI tester have to think based upon the customer what we are thinking. We cannot think what we are not thinking about as a tester, we think about we are as a customers, and definitely if you think about the customers, our intention is something more in that. While finding the defect, we have not have any limitations what the bugs we are filing. We can file all the things. We can think only what the easy way to understand the customer, because the customer is come from all the backgrounds, educated, non-educated. They don't have a knowledge amount that many people who can come, but he don't use the computer one anytime. So definitely we have to make our applications in that way to he can able to understand. Definitely we can understand the many people's in the now sector have the physically unbalanced, but we are developing our application in that way also. We can take as a example as ADA, as a American Disability Act, we can telling. So because nowadays we are performing the ADA testing also in that one kind of testing also, that college American Disability Act kind of testing we are performing the applications, because those applications, those people who not able to see the application, who can only, so based upon it he can also able to use our applications. So we can make nowadays our application in that way, so everyone can able to use. So that's why this all the types of testings we are giving to the applications to make our application more familiar to the customer things. So that's about the black box, in the sense normal the testers who doing the testing not have access to the code, only have access to the UI, means based upon the inputs he will expect some kind of output from the applications. That is the kind of testing. White box is that there who have access to the internal structure, who can see the internal code. Definitely we can understand examples like about memory leak, about the leakage of the things, something we can take under the white box. So in the all the way we are our same intention, the application should be 99% bug free. 100% cannot be possible to any of the software things. Again under the black box we have the kinds of things is functional and non-functional. Under the functional testing we are make sure we are checking the functionality of the applications. Functionality in the sense, for example, we have the login page, IRCTC username and password, and submit and cancel. So in this page we have the functionality to check that any person should able to log into the applications. So in this way, this all the testing we can perform under the functional testing, like to give the input, and based upon the input we can expect some kind of output from that, and that output if matching with our expectation, then we can make the application as a pass, test case as a pass. And what the input we got after output we got and is not matching with our requirement, we can mark as a fail. So that kind of this all the things we can checking the functionality, in the sense like submit have the click things, cancel means the cancelled applications, user means they can able to accept the input. So these kinds, this all are the one type of actions we are doing, or one type of functionality. Each every of the object have some of the functionality. User in the sense they have to give the username, password they have to give the password, submit can only once after give the information, for then we can give the submit. Possible we given the inputs and we are not sure about, we can cancel the things, means we are cancelled all the things. So under the functional testing we are simple word we are giving some input, and based upon input we are expecting some kind of output in the function. Come as a non-functional, only after functional testing get performed we can perform about the non-functional. Functional in the sense what the requirement we got from the client, we have to test the functionality. But non-functional we are thinking how my application can be easily accessible to the customers. Under the non-functional we can think about the load of the testings, load testing, we can think about the accessibility testing, we can think about the security testing. These are all the kinds come under the non-functional, because definitely, for example, we have the client, the requirement is there our application should be used by the 100 number of people can use the applications. But normally while doing the testing we cannot make the 100, and we are doing some kind of testing that cannot be 100. But under non-functional we have to make sure we have to stretch our applications like a rubber to some kind of time. We can make sure what is the load of the application they are working. So in the non-functional testing we can make sure our application should work for the 100, 1000, and what are the things they have described in that number should be reached. We can only think about the colors of the applications, the accessibility of the applications, the security of the application. Possible once we are giving the information, that should not be information get leaked in the browser and this cannot be saved. Like definitely if you are using banking applications, most of the times we are logging to the application by using the user ID and password. This all the things, giving the card details, this all the things in the online shopping. If the something gets definitely if some browser can save that type of record, can be total loss of the customers and total loss of the company also, because he can lose the customers. So that's why we are doing the security testing, app scan, pen test, this all kind of testing we are doing under the non-functional to check our application should be also 100% bug free from the non-functional side, should be secured. Because once if you give the complete bundle of the features to the customers, he can definitely use our applications, he can definitely give support, and he can definitely go for that kind of testing. So that about the software testings.